Donald Trump flew to California today to do what he and Republicans do best in the middle of a crisis, and that is make it worse. Donald Trump wanted to talk about everything except responding to the natural disaster and working to rebuild LA. He did nothing to make that community feel better about the prospects moving forward, to bring comfort to those who are at the lowest point in their lives. No, Donald Trump, as always, wanted to whine, complain, and talk about his own grievance, and that is exactly what he did, especially when spurred on by a reporter's particular question that we are going to get into. But before we do, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video, and if you haven't already and you enjoy our channel, to hit that subscribe button. It goes a long way, and it really means the world to me. Now let's get into what Trump had to say about giving aid to California.
You talked about conditions being placed on aid to California, voter ID and the like. Are there any conditions that you're going to put on aid to North Carolina?
We're going to do a lot for North Carolina. They've been very slow. I don't know why it's been so bad. This has been one of the worst I've seen. Katrina, of course, was something that obviously that was a long time ago. That was not good. But this has been very slow. I don't know if that was for political reasons, because they lost the state. Biden lost the state. Maybe he felt he doesn't care. Maybe there were other reasons. I don't know. But this has been very slow. By any standard, this has been very slow. And we're gonna make up for lost time.
No conditions you're going to push for aid.
Well, in California, I have a condition. In California, we want them to have voter ID so the people have a voice, because right now the people don't have a voice because you don't know who's voting, and it's very corrupt. And we also want them to release the water. If they released the water, they wouldn't have had a problem. If they released the water when I told them to, because I told them to do it 7 years ago, if they would have done it, you wouldn't have had the problem that you had. You might not have even had a fire. So, but here I don't have that. It's a different thing. You got hit by a storm. The people are incredible. They worked really well. Franklin was fantastic, and other groups. By the way, other groups came in that were also fantastic. And other states came in, Tennessee and a couple of others came in, and they really helped. That's the way it's supposed to be. No, this is a different kind of a thing.
I am not surprised that this is the condition that Donald Trump wants. He knows nothing about water systems or response to wildfire, so there was no way he was going to come in with this scientific plan of how the LA Fire Department can build better or better execute responding to these disasters, because he doesn't know anything. Donald Trump is a moron. All he knows is that he thinks he would have won California if there wasn't cheating. And so he's deciding that voter ID is what is necessary to protect people from wildfires? Are we serious? Every day is going to be embarrassing once again having this guy be our president. And he couldn't even stay focused on attacking California. He moved to our neighbors from the north as well, in Canada, with this right here.
And I said, do you think it's fair that we're paying $200 billion to keep Canada going? And what would happen, I asked him, what would happen if we didn't do that, if we didn't subsidize Canada? He said, we'd be a failed nation. And I said, then you should be a state. Because why are we paying all of that money to Canada when, we could use it ourselves, right? So we take care of their military. We're going to order about 40 Coast Guard big icebreakers, big ones. And all of a sudden, Canada wants a piece of the deal. They say, why are we doing that? I mean, I like doing that if they're a state, but I don't like doing that if they're a nation. Also, they've been very nasty to us on trade. Historically, Canada has been very, very bad to us, very unfair to us on trade. So we'll see how it all works out. I would love to see Canada be the 51st state. The Canadian citizens, if that happened, would get a very big tax cut, tremendous tax cut, because they're very highly taxed. And you wouldn't have to worry about military. You wouldn't have to worry about many of the things. You'd have better health coverage. You'd have much.
He just doesn't care. He doesn't care about anything but himself, his own petty grievance, and making a scene. Why Donald Trump is talking about Canada becoming the 51st state is, I'm sure, because he wants that to be the headline from this event, not the fact that he did nothing or said nothing to make the people of Los Angeles feel better, talking about the investment that the federal government should be making. President Biden, as Gavin Newsom has stated again and again, was responding via text message. He didn't even need to call, just via text saying, we will provide you all the aid you need. We will cover 100% of this rebuild. The federal government is behind you. And Donald Trump is talking about Canada. Donald Trump is talking about Canada. And when he is talking about the federal government, he's talking about stuff like this.
Security detail for Anthony Fauci was terminated last night, and I'm wondering if you have any comment on that.
About what?
The security detail for Anthony Fauci was terminated last night, sir. Do you have a comment?
No, I think, when you work for government, at some point your security detail comes off. And, you can't have them forever. So I think it's very standard. If it would be for somebody else, you wouldn't be asking the question. The question is very fair. But, you work for government. We took some off, other people too. But you can't have a security detail for the rest of your life because you worked for government.
Removing Dr. Fauci's security detail, that's priority number one for you, Donald? Really? And I can't even imagine being any government official under Donald Trump. What is so scary about this second term is what we've already talked about in the pre-capitulation from the corporate class, the media class, obviously the billionaires in Donald Trump's pocket, but those in our government. Taking away Dr. Fauci's security detail will leave him afraid. I am sure any other federal employee who thinks about opposing Donald Trump knows this will be the same result as them. They will become famous because Donald Trump will attack them, and they'll be left without security to protect them or their family. Donald Trump wants you to fear him, and it's terrifying. This is what his whole administration is about. And again, what is he supposed to be doing? Making people feel better in the middle of a crisis. But no, he's complaining and talking about Adam Schiff right here.
It's reported you invited Senator Schiff to join you on this trip, and he was too busy. Are you disappointed?
I don't know. I was told that Schiff was going to travel with us to California. I wasn't thrilled, to be honest with you. And I saw him last night on television. It looks like he got hit with a baseball bat or something. What happened to him? Something happened to him. It looked like he got hit. It looked like he got beat around. But I'll ask Caroline to find out what happened to him. No, if he wanted to come out, I would have done that. But I don't know. Somebody said that he wanted to come on the plane, but I think he's staying back for the votes. There's some pretty good votes going on. Yeah.
He really just can't control himself. He doesn't want to. Again, all complaints all the time. Not focused on anyone but his own enemies. Complaining, whining, oh, boo-hoo, poor me. It's all Donald Trump is all about. It's all he is about. He's not focused on anything that matters. And he doesn't have any values to ground him, as we know, in actually getting stuff done and making people's lives better. But Adam Schiff sure as heck does. That's why he was calling out Donald Trump for one of the worst decisions he has already made in his administration.
And Senator, I want to give you a chance to respond to something Donald Trump just said about you on Fox in the last hour. He said that you asked President Biden for a pardon.
Well, that's absolutely false. In fact, I told the administration they should not give these pardons. But I watched that interview, Lawrence. I heard the president speak 3 lies in quick succession within a minute, 3 lies a minute, and I've reached the conclusion, clearly, Lawrence, he's slowing down.
Yes, and he said things there that if this were the Biden presidency, people would be, there'd be massive headlines tomorrow about how loss of cognitive ability and all that, which we will not see in any headlines tomorrow. Another thing he said was that it would have been too cumbersome. That was his word. Cumbersome to study every one of the 1,600 pardon cases where he issued all those pardons. So, of course, he would have no idea that one of them was engaged in child pornography and other such things in these records. Just too cumbersome for a president to look at every case that he was pardoning.
I asked Pam Bondi about this during her confirmation hearing. Would she be going through these cases? How could she possibly be going through these cases one by one? She was indignant. Oh, of course she was going to go through these. Of course she was going to give each of them individual attention. Turned out to be utter nonsense. And, look, there are, I think, 3 really significant takeaways from what just happened in the last 24 to 48 hours. The first is what you've been emphasizing, which is these people he just pardoned were beating police officers within an inch of their life. They were bear spraying them. They were gouging them. They were hitting them with baseball bats and hockey sticks. These are the people Donald Trump just pardoned. So one thing is abundantly clear. He doesn't give a rat's ass about law enforcement. That much is clear. But it's also really significant that these crimes, as serious as they are, of attacking law enforcement, were in the service of an even larger crime, and that was the crime of trying to interfere with the transfer of power after an election. So these were in the service of his holding on to power after losing the election. That itself is a major crime against our democracy, against our Constitution, against our country. But then finally, in giving these violent offenders these pardons, he is essentially telling people who would commit violence on his behalf that he has their back, that he will pardon them if they commit violence in the service of Donald Trump. And you would be hard-pressed to find a country that has gone from a democracy to a dictatorship without finding this step of essentially pardoning people who commit violence on behalf of the would-be dictator. It doesn't mean that we're going to become a dictatorship, but it does mean that we have taken one tragic step in that direction.
Senator Adam Schiff, thank you very
The pardons tie in so perfectly. Perfectly is the wrong word. Unfortunately is the right word, to the removal of the security detail for Dr. Fauci. Again, there are people across the country who turned in their own family members, had to make a difficult but brave decision to turn in their own family members who stormed the Capitol on J 6th, who participated in the planning of the insurrection. They had to turn them in. And now those people are worried because their January 6th insurrectionist family member is out of jail and probably thinks they can do anything they want with the wind of Donald Trump in their sail. That is a terrifying thought. That is a terrifying thought for all those who have seen, if you go after Donald Trump's enemies violently, he'll pardon you. That is scary, and it's something that needs to be called out, and it's what we're going to be doing on the show every single day. And if you want to support that, as always, you can hit that subscribe button. You can leave a like on this video, and if you stuck around to the end, you can drop a blue heart in the comments. And until next time, I'll see you soon.